So probably one of the most complex aspects of what just came out of D&D Direct 2023's event was the first ever look at, like, serious look at the virtual tabletop program that Wizards of the Coast is putting together for D&D, displayed in this video up above. There is a great documentary video, which is 5.5 minutes long. There's also a discussion with Kale Stutzman, the game director for D&D Virtual Tabletop, which we're going to be going through today in this video. But I wanted to talk a little bit about this because I first covered this when the announcement was made, like I don't think it was a year and a half ago, and there was a very kind of not the best image available out of a play test that someone had shared. And I looked at it and I remember covering it and saying it looks like they've taken what Talespire had done, only they've added a budget to it. Like they've actually turned it up to 11 and they're doing something really, really, beautiful with what Talespire had started to put together. One of the things Talespire is innovative and everything, but one of the things they lack is any sort of actual licensing and the ability to, quickly and easily get in and build things that are official. And one of the reasons people like myself love, say, Fantasy Grounds or Foundry VTT or Roll20 for our VTT needs is because, as in the case, I'm a big Fantasy Grounds user. Other people love Foundry VTT, but we're doing a Starfinder actual play series right now. We've done official D&D campaigns in the past, like the Lost Mine of Phandelver. And when you buy an official module, it is a 2D environment, but you can just plug that module in. You've got all your maps, all your characters, everything's there, and you can just go. Now, this is taking that a step further and saying, well, what if we were able to put all of this stuff into a 3D space like what Talespire had done, but we make official modules that have all of your official characters and stats and everything else tied in here. And that's essentially what they're doing here because this is all tied into D&D Beyond. And for better or worse, I know some people are out there already complaining that, well, this is just part of their monetization plan and this is going to be a part of this and it's going to be a subscription and I'm going to have to pay for this. Hey, there's nothing wrong with a company making money off of products that they develop to enhance your gaming experience. And if you're someone like me, I don't have the luxury of doing physical gaming because of travel and the homestead and everything else. So I've been fully remote for like 12 years now, more than that. So VTT has been a lifesaver for me, and I'm always going to look at the next innovation in the VTT space, and this is absolutely it. I don't have a problem paying for things like that because they make my virtual tabletop experience better. Now, what interests me about this is not the official D&D stuff because I could give two shits about official D&D modules right now because of all the OJ stuff. I'm having way more fun doing Starfinder and I'm learning about Pathfinder. We're getting into Castles and Crusades. We have our own homebrew stuff, which is pivoting to the Pathfinder system and moving away from 5th edition. So, I'm in a completely different headspace right now, but I am extremely interested in what Wizards of the Coast is putting together with their D&D VTT program because it's not only going to be for official VTT or official D&D modules and official D&D content. They've also stated that they're going to be making the assets available so that people like myself could come in and make homebrew campaigns within this program. That is the innovative part of what they're building that I'm extremely interested in because even if I don't decide to use the official D&D VTT program for any of my homebrew stuff over the years, it does lead to an innovative process where other companies might say, well, just as much as D&D looked at Talespire and said we could do that better, someone might look at Wizards of the Coast's program and say, well, we can do that better. Competition is always good. That's why, I love the fact that we have Roll20, Foundry VTT, Fantasy Grounds, all of which offer a slightly different take on things, and they're continually pushing towards the next evolution. Anyway, I'm 4 minutes into this. I wanted to actually go through the dev documentary that they have, the post they have up on D&D Beyond. So we're gonna go look at that now. Before we get any further, though, I just got to give a shout out to all the fans who've been following along for the past few months, who are following along and joining the channel and everything else. If you're new here, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Support if you can. Memberships, super chat, super thanks, the Patreon page where you can get our tabletop game, all that stuff. We'll talk more at the end about it, but this is the part where I want to say, hey, before we switch over, do the like and subscribe dance. All right, let's go take a look at this interview here. So Kale Stutzman, the game director for the D&D Virtual Tabletop, sat down and did this big interview, which I'm going to have linked down below. So there's some screenshots and the D&D Direct, etc. And there's a fact down below. But he's here to do an interview on a first-hand report of the internal development of the new play platform. He says, while the 3D environments and minis make for engaging screenshots, let's talk about what functionality the VTT has right now and where we see it improving in the future. And by the way, if you haven't watched this video, you should. It is an actual play session that goes together with this interview, and it's him running some players through the actual campaign. It's really cool. I think it's worth your time to take a look at so that you can understand what they're building because it is a really cool tool. It really is a unique tool, and I think it's worthy of notice. It shouldn't be something that people are immediately shrugging off because, oh, it's Dungeons and Dragons. Meh, oh, I don't want to have to pay for something. Get over it. Like, this is a cool and innovative new tool that's going to help drive virtual tabletop in a new direction. So regardless of what they were trying to do with monetization and the slip ups that they made, let's look at this. He says when he first started to pitch this product with a small internal team, it was driven by my experiences as a longtime D&D player. When getting together in person was harder than it used to be. We wanted a virtual space where we could gather our friends wherever they were and play a game we love, but we needed to satisfy three core criteria. It needed to be fun, it needed to be convenient, and it had to be authentic to the rules and how people play the game. Um, he says, fun. As we make the VTT, we must recognize that traditional D&D and digital D&D are different. What makes playing in person fun might not translate perfectly to a remote experience. When rolling dice, you can't beat holding a bunch of dice in your hands. I agree with that. When you play digitally, that experience is gone, so we have digital-only features to the dice rolling process to make it fun in its own way, such as animations for critical hits, automatically adding your bonus to rolls, returning the result, becoming part of a roll sequence that integrate with the rules, etc. It's convenient. We don't want to replace the inconvenience of getting together with everyone in the same physical space with new digital inconveniences. It needs to work. DMs shouldn't have to prep more, they should have less, which, by the way, is one of the reasons I'm a big fan of just getting the modules from like Fantasy Grounds and plugging it in. I don't have to do any work. Some people will complain and say, well, why should I have to pay extra for the module when I already own the PDF or the physical book? Because you're not paying for the actual book, you're paying for the conversion. So the convenience of plugging it in and being able to play out of the gate. So it does need to be convenient because I will not spend extra time setting all this stuff up. Authentic. This is something Wizards of the Coast has always been in a unique position to tackle. We want to come work with the writers and designers of the game to come to a consensus on what the best digital version of the D&D experience could be. We want to work together so that the rules can be the same wherever you play them, but the rules only take you so far. Role playing is the true strength, and VTT is designed to support that part of the game as well. So this is the project update where he talks about in terms of development, they are in early alpha. And if we go back over to the video, I think at the end, yeah, playtesting is going to be in late 2023. So we're still quite a ways out from this even being a reality. If they're in early alpha right now, I would say that if they're starting playtesting in late 2023, don't expect to see this as a playable thing until at the earliest, I would assume late 2024 would be when this is going to be available. They're still quite a ways out from having this available. So he says we're in early pre-alpha. You might have heard of this called a vertical slice or a beautiful corner. These are just game terms, by the way, for those of you who don't know that kind of stuff. It's openly tested to anyone that works at Wizard and their friends and family. We play test weekly with our dev team. What features are currently in the client? He says right now we're focused on the core game experience and engaging content. We need a connected, these are things we've been testing in the latest build. Connected 3D experience, Dungeon Master controls, dice rolls and automation, D&D Beyond integration, VFX and animations. These are a big thing right here. We're experimenting with VFX that when you cast a fireball, it feels appropriately epic. Some of our monsters also have amazing animations when they first get unhidden by the DM. These assets are currently focused on the adventure content we're producing, but they will form an exciting tool set that we want to put in the hands of players later. Then 3D and 2D maps. So along with the static 3D map content, we can also import 2D maps and play on top of them with minis, which is the hexagonal stuff that we've been already doing with Fantasy Grounds and Roll20. And so they're trying to allow you to have that plus the 3D environment with their VTT program. So a little bit of both. And then 5th edition rules compatibility. We're trying to, it says we're turning monster and spell data into automation of VFX, which means we need to put all of the player's handbook and the monster manual into the game ability system. So that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. It says we're focusing on play right now, but after that we're focusing on tools. We want everyone to be able to play however they want, with books or D&D Beyond, using a screen to cast the VTT while everyone sits around the table. So that's a snapshot of what we're testing right now, and as we get feedback, they'll continue to improve. Thanks for reading. And then there's, of course, the video, and they talk about the filming of that video, which, again, if you have the time, which I highly suggest you go through this, and I will have this linked below. I'm not going to sit here and watch this video because it's just all the stuff we just read in the fact. This is a really cool overview video, and it's, this is kind of a PR video, so they're all like super excited and it's a little over the top. But if you can just ignore that for a minute and watch the video at your leisure, this is a highly recommended watch through, because it does show where they're at with the state of the game, and I have to say, it looks really freaking good. Honestly, if they can pull this off, and they're, from what I understand, from what I've seen, they have not been afraid to throw money at this. They are trying to build something that's going to capture the next generation of audiences for D&D 1 and D&D Beyond and everything they're tying into the integration. This is a Hail Mary for them, because this is all about monetizing D&D. Again, you don't have to like the corporate side of it, but everyone has a right to profit from the business that they own and operate and the intellectual property that they have. I see a lot of potential for what is going to come down the pipeline for this virtual tabletop program if they can pull it off, and they can provide us not only with an amazing Dungeons and Dragons specific experience, but more importantly, a tool set that anyone can then log into and have an asset pack to pull from to then create their homebrew adventures. Because in their initial press releases that they made when this was announced a couple years back or whenever it was, they said that you were going to be able to do homebrew and stuff. And as far as I'm aware, that's still the case. So you'll be able to come in and take the tool sets and the assets and everything else and build your own stuff out if you want to. And I'm sure that will lead to people creating modules and everything else down the pipeline. We don't know exactly yet, but that's one thing that we're hoping that we're going to see. But at the very least, we're going to see, I guarantee you're going to see official D&D modules be converted into this, because they want you to be able to either play through your PDF, play through your physical book, or to be able to play through their virtual tabletop program and be able to log in and have your characters go through actual maps that have been designed for the modules with all the VFX and all the characters and everything else in there. So this is cool stuff. So take a look at this if you haven't already done so. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. As always, if you haven't already done so, like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you can support the channel in all of the following ways. Memberships, they start at $3 a month and go up from there. We do private videos, polls, and stuff for our members here. We also have a Patreon page if you want to get involved with our Tabletop World fantasy book series and our point-and-click adventure game. And of course, if you want to go above and beyond, you can do a super thanks on this video or any YouTube short that you see, or a super chat on any of our live streams and premieres. Beyond that, there's a Discord if you want to come hang out with us, join us, play with us. We do MMORPGs together. We do Xbox console stuff. We have our Starfighter actual play series happening on Wednesday nights. So hopefully we'll see you for those as well. Till next time, everybody, stay safe, happy gaming, and hopefully I'll see you in the next episode.